Hey guys, this is the doctor. Welcome to my guide, I guess. I haven't seen many spy guys for Man Up or Man vs. Machine, and I decided to make one because I see a lot of people who try to play spy and they just do not know what they're doing, or they don't do it in a way that's beneficial to the team. So I'm just going to go over a couple loadouts that I find effective. Remember, these are all my opinion. Basically, the only difference between two loadouts are the knives. Otherwise, the only things you can't change are the sapper and the dead ringer. You need those. The gun and the knife are up to you, but for the sake of your team, you might want to go with the enforcer for the damage output. For the knives, you got the Kaviner's kunai and the big earner. I find that are best. The Kaviner's kunai cuts your HP in half, roughly. But when you backstab an enemy, you get their HP and an overheal. In this case, however, you only get the HP on the smaller robots. Like, you see this giant soldier, if I were to backstab him, I wouldn't get the 4,000 HP or whatever he has when I backstab him. And instead, I would just take his HP and not get anything. So I'm really vulnerable if I were to start stabbing him like that. Also, when you have the Kaviner's kunai, you don't get cloak very easily, obviously, like every other knife except for the big earner. And if you were to not have any cloak and you overheal, and you can't pull out the dead ringer, you could die before you're able to pull it out, even with the overheal. So if you're going to start stabbing with the Kaviner's kunai, once you get that first stab, be ready to pull out the dead ringer in case you need to, so that you can survive properly. Basically, a strategy with the sapper is to sap giant robots if they're there. Because if you see here, I'm going to sap this soldier, and he's going to be slowed down. He can still shoot rockets, but he's slowed down so that my team has more time to kill him. Because if I did not put that sapper on, he'd be a lot quicker, and we might not be able to beat him. So I'd be placing on here, he'd be slowed down again, and I'd give us enough time to kill him. And as you see, I stepped in front of him for a few seconds, and that he tried to walk into me, but he couldn't because I was not one of his team, but he thought I was. So my team also got an extra few seconds to put damage on him. That's how we killed him. That technique is known as spy blocking. So just playing with this set, as you see, I die quite a bit just because I A, don't pull out my dead ringer quick enough, and B, I have so little HP. It's really up to you what you do with the knife. I just don't like it. It's just personal opinion. But when you're upgrading, first you upgrade your sapper. That's very, very important. You upgrade your sapper with the credits you have. If you're playing on Big Rock, you should do that. You'll be able to do that the first round. And with the sapper, you obviously can sap robots, and that will disable the smaller ones and slow down the bigger ones. As I said, like super scouts get totally screwed up and they sit and run in circles. It's really funny. Giant demo men start walking backwards, and heavies just stare at you. It's, again, you can use that to your advantage to slow enemies down, and you'll be able to pass the wave. For teleporters, for the engineers, that's the whole reason we're talking about this guy, because the engineers can really screw up your game. The engineers randomly teleport on the map, and the administrator, if you're on Big Rock, will tell you that an engineer has appeared. And as you can see, where his teleporter is active goes up in a pillar of light. What you need to do is you need to start sapping it like you would in normal gameplay, and he'll go and try to fix the sapper, and then if he does, then he'll destroy the sapper, and then it'll continue to run. Now, the thing about teleporter is that if you do not destroy it, then every time a robot comes out of it, he'll be ubered, normal uber, so it'll take no damage for 5 seconds, which is a while when you're in game. And if he's right next to the base, like that teleporter was, you can have super scouts running out there ubered, and you will not be able to destroy the Super Scout before he gets the bomb in the hatch. And that is where Spy is vital, is taking out those teleporters. You can either sap the teleporter and kill the engineer, sap the teleporter, something like that. That generally works. If you have ammo clips, which I suggest, then you'll be able to get another sapper should you screw up. On this loadout, I have everything's the same but the knife, and as you can see, I'm holding the big earner, and it drops HP, and then you have 25 less HP as opposed to the 65 from the kunai, and every time you kill someone, you get 30 cloak. And the Dead Ringer has 100 cloak, obviously, but when you use it, and then if you were to immediately uncloak, then you would have 60% cloak left. And if you were to use the kunai and say backstab someone, you would not be able to pull out the cloak and be able to survive. You'd most likely get killed if you were in front of a giant robot. But if you were at the big earner and you killed 2 people and pull out the Dead Ringer, you would have survived because you had the cloak to pull out the Dead Ringer, and if the robot would start firing at you and you pulled it out and managed to get out of his line of fire, you could survive. Sure, you may die, but you may be able to get him focused on you enough that your teammates can kill him rather than dying in the very beginning with the kunai. If you have extra credits, the credits order goes sapper, knife penetration. If you have extras between those 2 buys, you buy refill ammo canteens, and then you start upgrading your resistance. First, you upgrade the movement to full, and then you start upgrading the crit resistance to full. Then you start upgrading the bullet resistance to full because those critted bowmen can be a real pain in the rear. And then you upgrade everything else pretty much. Fire resistance, so just fully upgrade your resistances. And then also, if you have the extra credits, you buy the ammo canteen so that you have more sappers, because the sapper obviously refills. So strategy with the big earner strategy is to sap robots and stab them after you stab a few. It's kind of like if you've watched Germa, he says to walk backwards, and after a few kills, pull out the Dead Ringer, then walk backwards. It's up to you. But once you get that cloak, you pull out the Dead Ringer. That thing is a lifesaver. That Dead Ringer, the Enforcer, are lifesavers in here that can change the wave, because you can kill a giant medic on your own with a fully upgraded knife and the Dead Ringer. It is insane. Also, kind of like normal TF2, robots cannot shoot through their own teammates. So if you have a giant heavy and a giant medic and you sap them, then if you strafe slightly behind the medic, then the heavy will not be able to shoot through him, and you can score some extra kills and possibly kill the medic. It's unlikely you'll be able to fully kill the medic just because strafing won't work forever and he'll eventually get through and kill you. But you can put in a low enough health that if like a soldier or heavy were to come back behind you, they could easily take out the medic while you respawn and get back to the battlefield. So that's my tips for playing Man Up. Hopefully, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys around.